In this video, we'll review everything you need to get started with PeerTeach. If you want to know the basics of how PeerTeach works before diving into this onboarding, check out our 2-minute overview video first. You can find the link in the description below. Now, we'll cover everything you need in order to roll out PeerTeach over 2 days of class. On day 1, you'll introduce PeerTeach, train students to be effective helpers, and survey their compatibility. On day 2, you'll assess mastery, match pairs, and facilitate peer coaching. Afterward, you'll have the power of data-driven peer tutoring at your fingertips for over 300 math topics. Depending on how you implement PeerTeach, this can take as little as 20 minutes per session. Here's our checklist for getting started. First, you'll set up your classes for day 1 of PeerTeach. Then, we'll go through what it looks like to train students and survey their compatibility. After that, we'll choose topics and print activity sheets for day 2 of class. Then, we'll walk through the process of peer coaching. Feel free to pause at suggested moments to complete the tasks. If needed, you can revisit or skip ahead to sections by finding timestamps in the video description below. All right, let's start with creating your account. Visit app.peerteach.org, click Sign in with Google, and select Teacher to create your account. Once created, email craig@peerteach.org to have your account activated. You won't be able to create your own classes until you do this. Pause now to create or log into your PeerTeach account. Now that your account is activated, let's get ready for day 1. First, we'll create your classes. In the top right corner of your screen, click the drop-down menu and select Add Class. Then, create as many classes as you'd like and click Create. You'll then notice a class code in the top right corner of the screen. To find this code for each class, simply select the class, click Dashboard in the top left, and click Class Info. Your students only need to enter this code once. After that, you'll have a full roster loaded into the platform. Pause now to create your classes and write down your class codes. The last thing you'll need to do before day 1 is ensure that all students have headphones so that they can fully engage with the PeerTeach trainings. Awesome, you're ready for day 1. Let's walk through what class will look like. You should block off about 45 minutes of class time to introduce PeerTeach. Almost all of this time will be spent taking our training modules. Students visit app.peerteach.org, log in with Google, and enter their class code. They can immediately get started by clicking Train. There are 10 levels of the initial PeerTeach training that take about 40 minutes in total. Some levels present a scenario and require students to respond as if they're coaching an actual peer. Others explain what good coaching looks like, giving an overview of 3 core teaching moves. Students get to practice identifying these moves by watching a live tutoring scenario and tagging the moves that they see. After level 2, students earn the ability to customize their avatars. During level 8, they unlock compatibility scores. In this level, students tell PeerTeach who they work best with in their class. If your students don't have time to get to level 8 and you'd like to move forward with their first peer coaching session, simply have them click the Preferences button in the top right and submit their compatibility survey from there. When your students finish level 10, they unlock the Galaxy Games so that they can take pre-assessments for peer coaching. If students don't finish level 10, don't worry. PeerTeach will automatically unlock the Galaxy Games as soon as you create a pre-assessment for your class. To preview the student trainings, you can click Dashboard, Training, and the purple eyeball next to Introducing PeerTeach. Pause now to explore the PeerTeach training. Congratulations, you've finished day 1. For day 2, you'll assess mastery and match students for peer coaching. Let's set up your classes. If you're watching this video before your students have completed day 1, we suggest following along by clicking the drop-down in the top right corner and selecting the walkthrough class. There, you'll find a sample roster along with data ready to go. If you're watching this video after your students have completed day 1, You can complete all of the steps in the rest of this video for your actual classes. Pause now if you'd like to switch to the walkthrough class. Okay, let's review the compatibility data that your students submitted. Go to one of your classes, click Dashboard, then Compatibility, and finally Matrix in the top left. There are 2 questions to ask yourself on this screen. First, are there any students whose compatibility with peers are entirely red? That student may have submitted red for all of their classmates without understanding the implications. Feel free to find a few peers who you know they work well with and change the rating from red to green. Second question to ask yourself is whether there are any pairs of students whose compatibility is green, but you don't want them working together. This might be a pair of best friends who like each other but aren't very productive as a pair. Feel free to change them from green to red or yellow. Students will never know that you changed their compatibility, but PeerTeach's algorithm will use your preferences when pairing students in the future. Make sure to repeat this process of checking compatibility for each of your classes. Pause now to review compatibility for your classes. Next, we'll choose topics for peer coaching. Click Pre-Assess at the top of your screen. Then click New Assessment. Now, browse through PeerTeach's topics and choose 2 for peer coaching. Since this is your student's first peer coaching session, we suggest choosing a topic that students recently learned or one from a previous grade level so that they can feel successful with their first attempt. We also suggest using topics with a blue check mark. These topics have been thoroughly vetted by PeerTeach's curriculum team and will lead to the best possible experience for students. We're adding new vetted topics every day, so if you don't see the ones that you'd like to use, know that they'll be ready within the next few months. Use the plus sign next to 2 different topic names to add them to your pre-assessment. Pause now to choose 2 topics. You can preview the topics by clicking the purple eyeballs next to the topic names. You can edit the assessment items and worksheets if you'd like, but most teachers choose to use them as they are. You can also preview what the assessment items look like for students in order to understand what the experience will look like within the Galaxy games. When you're done previewing, go back one screen and click Confirm. Ensure that the assessment is visible for the next day. If you'll be using the same topics across your classes, click the Copy button to recreate the assessment. Pause now to create pre-assessments across your classes. Lastly, you'll need to print worksheets for your class. Simply click Print Activity to download a PDF file. PeerTeach will automatically estimate how many sheets you'll need for coaching based on the number of students on each roster. For example, this class of 30 students will need 15 activity sheets for all of the pairs. In order to ensure that we have enough for each topic, PeerTeach estimates that we should print 12 copies for each one. In the PDF, we can see 12 double-sided copies for the first topic on pages 1 to 24, and 12 copies of the second topic on pages 25 to 48. Print the entire document double-sided without staples, and you're good to go. Repeat this process for each of your classes. Pause now to print worksheets for each of your classes. Nice. You're prepped and ready for day 2. Let's walk through what class will look like. Your first time peer coaching will take about 40 minutes. First, students pre-assess. Then, they transition to pairs and engage in peer coaching. At the end, they wrap up with a short post-assessment on the topic they worked on. Students will start by logging in and clicking Galaxy Games to start their pre-assessment. They'll answer questions to earn coins and win trophies. It's incredibly important that they do this task independently without asking for help or searching for answers online. You may want to provide scrap paper and, depending on the topic, a calculator. On the teacher side of the platform, you can see real-time results. Simply click Pre-Assess and then the results icon for the pre-assessment. From there, clicking on any red or green circle will show you the correct answer as well as student response for that question. Pause now to find the results screen for your pre-assessment. When most of your students have finished with the pre-assessment, you're ready to match. It's okay if not everyone is done with the second topic, but all students should at least finish the first topic. Click the Instant Match button, and PeerTeach will ask you to confirm any students that you don't want to participate. It will automatically detect any students with no data and assume that they are absent. When ready, click Confirm. Pause now to instantly match your students. And bam, you've got your student pairings. The circles next to each name show the student's mastery for their topic, and the icon between the names shows the compatibility between that pair of students. You may also notice that your post-assessment for this session is scheduled to open in 15 minutes. This prevents students from answering the questions before they've engaged in peer coaching. You're now ready to click Notify Students and let students know who they're working with. The bell in the top right corner of your students' screens will start pulsing with a red circle. If they click it, they can see their role, their topic, and their partner's name. At this point, it's time for one student from each pair to grab the worksheet for their topic at the front of the room and then meet their partner for peer coaching. It can be helpful to screen share a seating chart. Simply click Seating in the top right corner of the match screen and then click Screen Share. This way, if students forget which topic they need a worksheet for, they can double check when they get to the front of the classroom. Pause now to notify students and project your seating chart. Once students find their partner, it's time for peer coaching. During this time, coaches can practice the teaching moves that they learned during the PeerTeach training. You can circulate among students, giving coaches feedback on when to ask questions, when to explain, and when to let players do the work. If you notice coaches who don't quite have full mastery, or pairs where compatibility doesn't look so strong, you may want to gravitate toward those students and offer support during their peer coaching session. After 15 to 20 minutes, all pairs should be at least on the back side of the activity sheet, and it's now time for their post-assessment. They can go back on their laptops and again click the Galaxy Games. On the teacher side of the platform, your post-assessment will now be open. Click Post-Assess in the top right, and then click the results icon to view student responses as they come in. Pause now to find your post-assessment results. When more than half of your class is finished, the class progress link will appear at the top of the screen. Click it to see a summary of the growth that happened for the players in your class. Emoji and react to their achievements in the newsfeed to acknowledge their hard work. Students can also see and react to their peers' achievements by clicking Spacebook and then going to the peer feed at the top of the screen. At the bottom of your class progress screen, you can see how much each individual student grew from their coaching session. Pause now to view the class progress page and react to achievements in your class. Congratulations! You've finished with your first peer coaching session. You can now set up peer coaching anytime you'd like during your class. We have so many exciting things planned for you here at PeerTeach. Here's just a peek at our roadmap for the next year. And if you have any questions or feedback, don't hesitate to reach out by emailing Craig at peerteach.org. Happy peer teaching!